Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 26 of UnCoMfY CoNvOs. This is your boy Shiv, your guy, your dude, your man, your boy, your man boy, whatever you want to call me, whatever. And today we're going to talk about decision anxiety. That's right. I'm sure you've had to make a decision in the past, and you're making decisions now. You made the decision to listen to this podcast, which is a great decision. So there should be no anxiety on that one if you're listening. But you know, there's other decisions that have anxiety involved. And to talk about decision anxiety, we have a wonderful guest. He's a good friend of mine, a former coworker. He's started his own sneaker business. You can follow that at Out the Box Kicks on Instagram. He's been in the fashion industry for 4 years. And he most recently has started shooting comedy videos for comedians on subways. My comedy video. And so without further introduction, thank you so much for being on, Evan Gresham-Jones.
Thank you, Shiv. Thanks for having me on UnCoMfY CoNvOs.
Yeah,
you know, I've got so many subway comedians since I was about. It's kind of my specialty. Only on that very specific subway line. Only eating subways on subways.
Right.
That's all they ever do.
Yeah. For our listeners, Evan was brave enough when I asked him, and we weren't too deep into our friendship at that point. We had just been a few months maybe, and I asked him to film me on the subway eating a Subway sandwich in front of strangers, and he did it, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. So I just wanted to publicly give you that right now to all my listeners.
I appreciate that. You know, when I saw you and we were kind of like hanging out, I was like, you know what? There's some talent in this kid. And I had a vision for where I wanted you to go. And I kind of wanted, seeing you in that office made me think, you know what? This kid has it. Let's ride with him. Let's see where he can go.
Yeah, and your vision was of me on the subway eating a Subway sandwich.
Pretty close. It was pretty close to that. Yeah, it was pretty close. Pretty close. Almost spot on.
Yeah. No, it was so brave because there were so many people on that subway. You were recording. I was the awkward man. I was like the crazy person on the subway. And you were partaking in the festivities. So you seem like the crazy person too. So it was like, I respected you so much because you were able to block out like all the social pressure in that situation and just film me.
I kind of have a confession, Shiv. When I was filming, I tried my hardest to look as though I wasn't filming and like kind of make faces to people like, what is he doing? Like, why is he acting like this? So I could look like I was filming like, look at this weirdo in the subway. Like, what is happening right now? I don't know who this guy is, but this is going straight to social media. I kind of wanted to have that kind of look on the subway. I didn't want to look like I was a part of what you were doing.
Well, you know, I guess all the truths come out on this podcast. You know, I'm
UnCoMfY CoNvOs exclusive. Yeah. Nobody else will get that, but UnCoMfY CoNvOs.
Kind of wish you kept that one to yourself.
I want to be exclusive, Shiv. I was saving it for this conversation. I ignored all of the other media outlets when they reached out to ask about that night or that evening. I left that part out of that interview so I could save it for yours.
I appreciate it.
Oh, no problem.
You're like on the subway and you're like, you start saying in the middle of recording, you're like, look at this weirdo. Like, Evan, we can't have that on the video. That's not the purpose of the comedy video.
When you look back at the video, you can actually hear me like saying some pretty disgusting things about you, shit. You thought it was people in the subway. It was me. And I was saying it to deflect from the fact that I was helping you shoot the video.
You're like, who eats a Subway sandwich and records them? Like, what? Like, you're pointing it out logically.
Subway? Look at this guy.
He's eating the wrong sandwich. He's supposed to get a better sandwich.
That's not even the sandwich you get from somewhere.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to bring that up. I thought it was very brave for you to do that. But in addition to that, you have started your own business, which I think's super cool. I know the topic today is decision anxiety. What made you decide to want to start your own business?
It's actually kind of a serious topic. It was like 2012, and I'd always been into like collecting sneakers. Um, that's that's like a kind of a regular thing now. But like collecting sneakers, buying sneakers, selling them if I was done with them, or like buying and cleaning and then selling. Um, and there was a shop that I kind of like always frequented out west, and they started doing these things where they were like selling like small collections that hadn't been cleaned yet, hadn't been refurbished, and kind of were just like in not the greatest condition. And I was working at Dollar General at the time, and it was I hated that job so much that I was supposed to quit in November because my mom's birthday is in November. I was gonna quit so I can go to her birthday party. She has a big birthday party every year, and like it goes into the next day. It's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I was gonna quit so I can go to her birthday party. But when they started selling these like small collections of boxes that were like hadn't been cleaned or processed, that was probably like beginning of November, and I knew I wanted to do it. Like I saw that thing and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I did the math in my head, like there's no way I can lose money on this thing. I know what I'm doing. I'm a fan of this area, this culture. I hate using the word, but I'm a fan of it. I know I can make money doing it. So I stayed like an extra month so I can save up $500 and buy a box of shoes so I can clean, like refurbish them, repaint if necessary, and sell them on like my eBay store at the time. So I bought my first box on December 21st of 2012. They shipped it. It I received it on December 28th, 2012. Made my first sale on January 2nd, 2013, and by the end of January, I had made $800 on the box. So at that point, I kind of already knew, like, okay, this is something. One, I know what I'm doing. I know the right people who can buy it, um, and now I kind of have an endless supply of this thing of inventory essentially. So it was just at that point, it was just reaching out, buying, and re-upping every chance I got to be able to like continuously have this inventory to feed the demand that I had amongst like my peer group. Um, and that's something I've kind of been doing it like that since 2012.
Got it. Got it. That's really cool. That's really smart to like be able to see that opportunity. And how'd you learn, or was it extremely difficult at first to be able to like upgrade the shoes from like the shape they were in? Like if you're trying to like, you know, improve the quality of them, was that a hard process?
No, because it was something I grew up where like you started your school year off with like one, two, maybe three pairs of shoes if you were able to like stretch whatever your parents' budget was for the beginning of the school year.
Yeah.
So whatever pairs you had, you had to make sure you knew how to take care of them for the rest of the school year because you may not get any until like Christmas or your birthday or whenever.
Mm-hmm.
But if they got dirty, you had to know, okay, I use this solution to clean them. I use a toothbrush. I use, I don't know, Jason Mark. I use whatever I can to keep this pair of sneakers clean because it needs to look this brand new for the rest of the year until I can get something else. So at that point, it was like, if I get a pair of shoes from them and it's like only slightly dirty, it's nothing to clean them up. If it's pretty dirty, I know like what solution to go to, how much pressure to use. It's something I kind of already been doing with like my personal sneakers that I already own.
Got it.
So it wasn't necessarily something that was like a far reach for me. And it's kind of funny you asked because my wife and sister-in-law they're here, not necessarily here in the house trying to make the story as short as possible, but we're in my wife's aunt's condo in Atlanta right now because she's in New Orleans with her boyfriend, and she just like let us get the condo. And they are here, and her sister.
Your aunt's with her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Not your wife. Okay, good. Just making sure.
Yeah, I'm always with her boyfriend. And let me be the condo. That's kind of how that goes, actually. Your wife goes with the boyfriend, and like at that point, you can probably get the condo in the divorce, right? That's how it works. But that's not the way this one went. But my sister-in-law actually asked me because she wants to like start her own business, but she's like, "Oh, like I'm thinking about starting my own business. Like, what do you suggest?" And I was like, I'm not even really like a business person. I just sell things that I care about and I would buy and I know the market of. So it's not like I don't buy. I don't know. I don't put together dresser drawers and like sell them to developers to put into a condo. Because I don't care anything about dresser drawers. I actually hate dresser drawers. I hate them. Shit. I hate dresser drawers.
Okay.
I hate cabinets.
I accept it.
But I've only ever sold things that I care about.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what drove me even to do it because it's something I would do. It's so cliche, but it's something I would do for free and kind of did for a little bit.
Yeah. Why do you hate dresser drawers so much?
It's dresser drawers in cabinets, specifically these, because when they close, they're so loud. It's like, you remember like being a kid and then maybe like you play fight with someone and like you may do like a tap, like a slight tap or a small push, and they're really dramatic in how they react to like how you're play fighting with them. Yeah. Like when I close these dresser drawers or these like cabinet doors, they're like really loud. It's like I actually didn't even close this cabinet door that loud, and it's like it's annoying. If it wasn't unprofessional and like not really up to the UnCoMfY CoNvOs level of production, I would get up and close one so you can hear how annoyingly loud it is. But I know that's not like your listeners. They're too elevated to like have someone actually get up and leave their chair during the interview. Right. So I know I can't do something like that for UnCoMfY CoNvOs. Maybe for the other media outlets that reached out, but not for UnCoMfY CoNvOs.
Yeah, they're well acclimated to the top notch.
Yeah. The top 1%, the people that everybody like hates right now, the top 1%, those are your listeners. I know. I know.
That's if you're listening, you're the top 1%. But that also means you're the best. You're keep listening. That's a really cool story though. I think that's super inspirational, but also like really cool because you had a big hobby for it and you like were able to make it something you did for business, like, which is very rare. And did you, after that, so you started it, and then as you continued going at it, were you like, because I know it's like an entrepreneurial endeavor, were you like, there's a lot of like challenges with this that maybe if I had a job or if I didn't like do it, there's benefits to having a job versus being an entrepreneur?
100%. When I made that first little 300 in the first month of business, it was like, it felt good, but the next month, then they started offering boxes that were like $600 or $700, and the quality of shoes got better with every like 100 or 50 that they increased. So once I made 800, it wasn't like I pocketed 300 from the $500 investment. It was like, oh, I want the $700 box now because I want whatever's in that box. Mm-hmm. So once I did that, it was okay. I made 800, say 80 of it went to shipping because it's like maybe like $8 to $12 a shoe that you're shipped per shoe that you're shipping. Mm-hmm. And then after that, paying that $700, I maybe walked away with maybe like $12 profit,
Got it.
which I was in college and I actually just quit that job. So I was actually kind of not in the hole, but I wasn't like as great as I thought I was going to be after the first month, even though I had made $300 because I had reinvested it into the business. So once I started working, I started actually working professionally once I graduated in 2014 at a small, like, what do they call it? A law firm in accounting. So once I started doing that, everything I generated from the business I was able to reinvest in, I don't know, do things like buy a website, buy a domain name. I don't pay for business cards. I started going to conventions. There was a convention called Kicks Fair here in Atlanta that I would go to, and you had to pay a fee. Um, you had to pay for, I don't know, gas in the car to get there. You had to pay for like little trimmings and stuff for your table to make your table stand out. I had to pay for like the employees' lunch. There was one employee, it was my wife. I got her like Chick-fil-A, but it's still an expense. Yeah, and at that point, it's like once you're working and all you have, and the only thing your business, everything that your business generates can go right back into it. It grows at just a faster rate, and that's just like it's like basic economics kind of. But at that point, once I started working, it was the business kind of grew in a way that even when I stopped working, the business was able to supplement the income from what I would have made from a job.
Right. Right. You got the, yeah, you like were able to generate it without an employer. That's really cool. Would you say, from what you're saying, from what I'm understanding, is uh, it could be cool to have a job in a way, especially if you, even if you want to do something entrepreneurial, because it creates a source of income to fuel into the business.
Absolutely. And I mean, even for something that's like, for me, it would be harder if my business was based on like services, just because like you can't have any more time than the time you have. And when you're providing a service, you kind of have to use your time. But for like product, anything where it's like you can look away or you can like literally sell something while you're sleeping, working for me was the best way to grow the business just because I didn't have to, it doesn't take a lot of time to have inventory put up on a website and have somebody buy it. It's literally like maybe 10 minutes to have it set up and then someone buys it and then you just send it through the post office. There's no time at all. So for me, it was the best way to grow the business was to work really while I did it so I could reinvest.
Yeah, that's really smart, and that's cool. That's a very efficient use of time to
Mm-hmm.
be able to like scale it like that, where it's just like, you know, you get a sale from the site and they send
Mm-hmm.
it right through.
Yeah, because when you have to pay yourself, you're really bleeding the capital out of the business. Like you're bleeding something that could be marketing or something that could be, I don't know, any other expense that you can put on a balance sheet. You're bleeding that from the business when you're paying yourself to do things like pay rent. Like it's expensive.
Right, right. And I'm sure there's a lot of decisions like within, once you had the bit, like you obviously decided to like have it in general, but the operation of it, like you said, like having to pay employees or whatever it is, it's like there's a lot of decisions. Once you own it, you're probably like making decisions all the time.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and what are the decisions I made? Even when you like shouted out social, like I've always my entire life hated social media. So
Huh.
from like I remember what was it in 7th or 8th grade? It was like Zanga, and then it was no, was it Zanga and then MySpace? And for me, it was Zanga and then MySpace, then Facebook, and then of course Instagram. But I've always hated social media.
Got it.
So for me to like, the social media is probably like 4 or 5 years old, but it's so like every time I go on and it's like, all right, I have to make a post. That's the part where it's like, I would rather pay somebody to do that. I want no parts of social media. For anybody who goes to the social media from like UnCoMfY CoNvOs, you're gonna see that I hate social media. There are like 30 posts, and the last one was like from a week ago. The whole point of the social media is just literally just to have like the website there, so people can just like it's really more so of another branch to catch people to go to the website. But I really don't like social media at all.
Yeah.
That was the part like way back. I think it was 2015. Like that decision was like I really put that decision off as long as I possibly could because I really don't like social
media. Yeah, that's that's the courageous maybe, but that's also very like you got over your distaste for social media in lieu of like what you want, in lieu of wanting the business to grow. You know what I mean?
That's a positive way to put it. Sure.
you're like I'm gonna use social media as a platform to grow the business. That's it. But you're like I want everyone to know that I don't like this. I personally don't like. In all your posts, you should just add a line at the end just saying I as a person don't like doing this.
I really thought about like making it almost like a spoof social media account, like taking like like duck face pictures, and then it's like, all right, now I got to do the duck face photo, but it's like that's the caption for the duck face photo. Like making a spoof is like making fun of the fact that I hate this so much, but I feel like I have to do it.
Yeah.
Like I really, it's not. That would be kind of be the only way it would be fun. It's to like kind of like make fun of it while I'm doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, please make a duck face post.
Yes. That's actually like, that was, I hate that I guess it can be another UnCoMfY CoNvOs exclusive, but that was going to be like the next big marketing program was just me doing duck faces.
with your shoes up, you like bring your leg up and you're like displaying a shoe, but you also, you're going to have to do maybe a lot of yoga to get to that, to be able to have the foot in the frame while doing it. Or you could zoom out.
Or it's literally just taking a shoe and just like doing this with a duck face.
Oh, you could take the shoe off your foot.
You weren't aware. I'm sorry. I'm sorry you've been wearing shoes non-stop for your whole life. I'm sorry you weren't. Did nobody tell you? Bad life, Shiv. You've never taken off a pair of shoes.
My feet have never seen sunlight.
Never seen in the shower. God, he's wet.
Although I recently I got a pedicure, so that's
through the shoe.
No, not through the shoe. I got it, separately. Without the shoe.
What you've been wearing your whole life are sandals.
Exactly, sandals my whole life.
Okay. You've never taken them off. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's really, it's I'm sure it's just a lot to be able to like manage a business. And so I think it's super cool that you did that, and then it makes sense to transition in a job. I'm sure like when you're managing it, there's so many more things that you're taking into account, and then maybe in a job, it's like there could be a lot of stress and stuff and still a lot of things to take care of, but you're not like the head. So
at Macy's, it was kind of, theoretically, it's easier to understand like what you're doing. But for the daily responsibilities of just any job inside of a big corporation, it's like you're only doing this part, right? You're only like, this is what you manage in this entire room. This is what you do. Yeah. Where when you run your own business, the whole room is what you do.
Right.
So right. It's not. It doesn't really translate, to be honest. Yeah, it doesn't really translate, but it's more so something that, for me, since I wasn't working with anywhere near product when I first started, for me it was something to kind of keep me close to like something I really liked.
Right. But that's such a true statement that, you're designated a function when usually, especially a bigger company, or and that's your role. And then when you have like when you're doing your sneaker business, like it's a lot more of everything. You have to have your hands in everything. I wanted to mix things up a little bit. I want to play a quick little game. It's called You're so worried. You're so worried. It's not even a game. It's just called What Type of Person Are You when it comes to these types of decisions. So
can I ask a question? This
sure.
episode of UnCoMfY CoNvOs is decision anxiety.
Right.
So then during the podcast about decision anxiety, you then ask the guest to make more decisions in a game.
Right.
Okay. It's all for the fans. I get it. You know, I'll let you know if I'm triggered by any additional decisions I have to make. It's fine.
Yeah, just to make your life easier, you know. So the first one is like whenever someone says to you like, where do you want to go eat? A friend or you know, a partner or someone. If they're like, where do you want to go to eat? Are you the type of person that decides or pushes it off?
I'm the person that if I have a taste for something, I'm gonna mention what I have a taste for. So we're all like, hey, what you guys want to eat? I'm like, I could go for some fish. I'm not gonna say I want throwing out the red lobster fish. I want fish. I'm the person who's gonna keep limiting it. I'm not gonna leave it out there for anyone to decide, but I'm gonna narrow the decision down. So it's like, okay, I'm in the mood for fish. If other people are in the mood for fish or don't care, now everyone can then talk about where they want to go for fish. So at that point, I have it. For me, I feel like I haven't like impressed my own like idea of what I want to eat on everyone else because I don't like feeling that way. But I've also made the decision or made the discussion that much easier for like where we're gonna eat.
Got it. Okay, I respect that. But all right, so now in this hypothetical, say I'm in your friend group, and which I am, and
you're in the top tier of the friend group.
Yeah. And you say, hey, someone's like, what should we eat? And then you're like, let's narrow it to fish. Okay, all right. That was that's what you would do. You limit it. You limit the scope. I'm going to throw something at you. I'm hanging out with you guys. I'm going to say, I'm a vegetarian. I can't eat fish. And I can't be like 20 miles near it either. So I say that in the friend meeting, in the friend group meeting. In the friend group shindig.
So luckily, Shiv, most people have had enough exposure to vegetarians when they like make decisions to go out to eat that everybody kind of knows that when a vegetarian speaks up about what they want to eat, you just ignore them. I think at this point, vegetarians have made their voice so loud that it's almost deafening that when you make decisions to go out to eat, everyone looks at the vegetarian like their decision doesn't matter. You'll find something to eat from where we decide we're going. And I think that if you were in my friend group, that opinion, that thought would fall to the ground and nobody would move on. So you would go to the fish place and just have French fries. And you would be fine with that because you're a vegetarian.
That's so funny because my friend group in high school, we were going to eat somewhere and they were like, oh, let's go to Five Guys. I'm like, I can't really have anything there because I can't eat the burger part of the burger. And right. they all went to Five Guys. And I had 2 buns with cheese in the middle.
Did you really do that?
Yeah.
That's weird, Shiv. Why would you do the buns and then just do cheese?
Well, that's what would happen if I was in your friend group. We would go to the place, and then I'd have to create this concoction that's weird.
But even then, I wouldn't expect you to get like a fish sandwich with no fish. I would expect you to just get fries, or maybe like a hush puppy or something. I wouldn't expect you to get a fish sandwich sans fish. I would expect you to just get fries. Why would you get the burger with no burger? That couldn't have been good.
No, it wasn't, and it wasn't even nutritious.
Was it worth it? Like when you think back about that moment, would you have rather just eaten fries? Or was there like an inner part like deep down inside of you that wanted to make a point? Like was there like a deep down Shiv that was like, I'll show you. Take me to Five Guys, will you? I'll get a burger with no burger. And then like and then make sure like everyone sees you eating it. Like was that it? Or did you just like you were just hungry that you wanted 2 buns with cheese?
No, I think it's a little bit like the latter. I did want to make a point a little bit. I think I was like, oh, I'll show you guys. Let me have a bun. I'm gonna show them right now. Hey, could I please have a burger, 2 buns? And then I look back and I'm like, that got it. 2 buns. That'll show them.
Oh man, nah. I wouldn't expect you to get the fish sandwich with no fish. I would just expect you to get fries.
Yeah, that's what I do though. A lot of the times when I'm in those situations, I'm like, all right, I guess I'll just get this.
That's what you have to do. That's the thing. I think there should be like a manual that goes out. Like the second someone, I am a vegetarian, there should be like a manual that gets sent to their house of like social cues of like how to tell people you're a vegetarian or how to like navigate eating situations. Like you're a vegetarian, I support you. You cannot, should not enforce that or impress that upon my friend group. If it's just me and you, I'll probably, if it's just me and you, Shiv, I'll probably go with you to a vegetarian restaurant or someplace that doesn't serve meat, and we'll just eat whatever's there. But if it's a big group of people and you talk and you say you're a vegetarian and expect someone to like care, there should be like a part. There should be like a section of the manual like telling you how to navigate those situations.
In case someone doesn't care.
Not in case of, but
when?
How to react when people don't care.
Not if, when people don't care.
When people don't care, here's how you react. Here's what you ask for. There should be like a secret menu, like across like different, like I don't know, like if you go back to Five Guys, there should be like a secret like vegetarian menu, like a vegetarian underground railroad where like people can go and like no matter what restaurant you go to, there's like a secret vegetarian menu. There's like a handshake at the front door, and there's like this underground menu that only vegetarians can access. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a separate part of the restaurant.
Yeah, completely separate part of the restaurant. Go to the bathroom and like pull the lever and like the doors swing around. They do a 360.
Yeah.
Go to, like, the other part of the restaurant for vegetarians, you get your food and you come back to where everybody else is sitting with like this completely vegetarian like meal.
Yeah, that actually be really cool, and I think that would convert meat eaters to vegetarianism if it was designed like that.
I think you're reaching now. I don't think having a cool entrance would convert people to eating vegetarian or being a vegetarian if they're not already like into it. Because even then, that's kind of a big commitment.
Yeah.
For someone to take on.
Yeah.
I think so. Especially if you've been eating meat your whole life.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that debate for. I think it's definitely a heated debate, and it has strong arguments on both sides. So we'll move on from that debate because it's just so close.
We'll table that. Yes.
We'll table that. Yeah.
Part two.
Part two. So that was instance number one. Now I know you did a recent road trip. So on long car rides, when you have to pee a little bit, do you hold it or are you like I gotta go now?
I'm a holder, man.
Yeah.
I am a holder. I'm like I drive in intervals. I don't drive in like, oh, there's a restaurant or oh, I drive in like I'm driving for, let's say if we're making a 12-hour drive and we're both doing our like when we drive from New Jersey to Atlanta or vice versa, it's usually a 12, 13-hour drive. So it's roughly 3 hours in 4 pieces. So I do like I'm the whole 3 hours I'm just driving. I'm not doing anything else. Well, I'm driving and then like kind of DJing, but that's what I'm doing for my 3 hours. I'm not stopping until the 3 hours is over. My wife splits her 3 hours into like 15-minute increments. So like she'll drive for 15 minutes, stop because she saw something, drive for another 15 minutes, stop because she has to use the bathroom, drive for another 15 minutes, stop because there was a really good gas station that we stopped at a couple years ago and she really wanted to see how they've improved upon the building's design and their architecture since the last time we stopped there.
Yeah.
Then she may push out 45 minutes and then stop once again.
Yeah.
For me, all that time is made up in my shift because I'm 3 hours done. We'll get gas and do everything at whatever is at the end of this 3 hours.
Right. But now, see, there's a conflict there because you're going for 3 straight hours. Mm-hmm. And then if she wants to stop, how do you handle that?
I let her stop. I let her stop. Well, that's the thing. If it's something, and that's a bigger, dirtier discussion about like marriage and compromise. But if there's a reason that she's stopping and it's like what I deem as not a bad reason, then I don't pick a fight.
Yeah.
But if it's like if it's a stop and it's like, nah, we don't need to stop.
Yeah.
I kind of pick a fight a little bit. Like I kind of like, why do you want to stop there? I kind of make it uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that it's kind of to see like how bad do you want this stop? Like if you want this stop bad enough, it's going to be a little uncomfortable. But if you don't want this stop that bad, then the little bit of discomfort from the discussion is going to make us keep going. Right. But most of the time, I just kind of let her stop. It's not like
right. Yeah, you just weigh how bad the whoa.
No, that's exactly what I do.
That's the first time I just couldn't say a word on the podcast. I apologize to the listeners. That was the first time. Do you see what I did there?
I think the problem is everybody saw what you did there. I definitely saw it. I was here when it happened. You're editing, scream to the editing team in the back that you showed me in pre-production. Everybody, Shiv wants you guys to think he's working a really small, like one-man operation. I met the sound guy. I met the production assistant. I met the director. I met the writer. I met them all in pre-production.
Yeah.
And I want you guys to know that this is actually a really big conglomerate, and Shiv isn't really doing this on his own. This is not a small podcast. It's not a small, like, independent. He wants it to look like scrappy. It's not. It's actually super bureaucratic. It took me weeks to get through to get on this podcast. I've known Shiv since, what was it, Shiv? 2019? 2018?
20, 18, 19. Yeah, you're right.
I've known Shiv for this long, and I've asked to be on the podcast. He just submitted my name to the higher ups a month ago. I'm just now getting on the podcast. Thank you to the higher ups at UnCoMfY CoNvOs for having me.
Yeah. And in the episode, I just went.
Like it's like you just like you were about to say something and your mouth just like gave up.
Stop.
Like I'm that's funny.
I couldn't even, dude. That's never okay. We're done. So the what I was saying was, instead of I was saying the desire. I couldn't say the ire part. The desire.
No, that's a tough word, man.
Yeah.
No letters.
The desire to stop
Mm-hmm.
is so great that, you know, it warrants the stop. Is basically what you're saying.
Yeah, I want her to, like, that's our way. So we have a way that we talk to each other. That's like regular conversation that everybody else will hear. But then there are conversations that happen in like different frequencies that like we can pick up on. So she would say like, "Oh, there's this place coming up in 2 miles. I kind of want to stop." And then I'm saying, "Are you sure you want to stop? Or are you sure that that's like we probably shouldn't stop. We have to be there at this time. We're gonna vote. We want to make sure we get there on time." That's me really saying to her, "How bad do you really want to stop? Do you want it this badly? Because I'm about to argue with you if you want it this bad." And that's and then in her response, she's either saying, "I don't care about the argument. I'm going to stop," or she's saying like, "I don't feel like dealing with like your BS. I'm just gonna keep going." That's like, there's the conversation, and then there's like the other frequencies of conversation that happen outside of just regular talk.
Right. Right. Meanwhile, on the outside, all that said is, "Are you sure you want to stop?" And she says, "Yes, I'm sure."
Yeah, that's all that everybody else can hear. But we really just had it out.
But in your head, you're like, there's all this attitude going on.
Exactly. So much added, so much tude.
So much tude. Too much tude.
Way too much tude.
That's really sweet that it even sounds like that. Though, like, "So are you sure you want to stop?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm sure." In your head, you're like, "Oh," and she's like, "Yes, yes."
Yeah, that's how most well, no, that's probably like how like 30 to 40% of our conversations are, where it's like,
Yeah.
I would say something meaning something else, and she picks up on it. The problems when they come is more so like, if I don't pick up on the higher frequency conversation, if I'm only responding to this and this just goes like over my head, sometimes that happens. Sometimes I go over like somewhere else and she doesn't pick up on like the other thing I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those are the misunderstandings.
Like paying attention to the tone and the delivery.
Tone and delivery are so important in a marriage.
Yeah.
Because you can't always just say what you want to say due to like feelings. And that was a really intense agreement. You shook your head, Shiv. But yeah, that was really intense. But it's like you can't just say everything outright all the time.
Yeah, you can't say everything outright. I was like, yes. 100.
Women, right? Women?
No. No, I didn't mean that.
No, I get it. I understand. Those higher ups, man. The writers. You got to get new writers.
We're very politically correct here at UnCoMfY CoNvOs. I hope.
Yeah, I hope so.
And, but no, that's so true. Like, you know, you don't say things to protect feelings, like, especially if you're like, it's like the way you say it. Because like you said, like, even in that conversation that you just broke down, like, "Are you sure you want to stop?" Like, you say that in maybe a higher pitched tone, just a very nice, like, "Are you sure you want to stop?" But in your head, you're like, "Really? Again?"
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? And like, that's what's going on inside your head. But on the outside, you're presentable. You're like, "Are you sure?" And then like, She's like, yeah, I'm sure. Want me on the inside. She's just like, why do you keep asking?
Yeah.
I feel like that's how it happens at like sometimes at work or just in a lot of social situation, everyday situations where you have to show like pleasant face.
That makes sense. I get what you're saying. I haven't really felt that at work so much because at work I kind of just like I'm in super like don't upset anybody mode.
Right.
So
Same.
there's almost no other frequency other than be as pleasant as humanly possible all the time.
Right.
Where like if I'm with my it's funny, but when I'm with my wife, I'm not so be pleasant all the time. I'm more so like, let's get this thing done together in the way that is agreeable to both of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not necessarily pleasant, agreeable.
Got it. Got it. That makes sense. And that makes sense generally with people you spend more time with, you know better.
Yeah,
Like you always
friends too. Yeah, friends too.
yeah, and you can have more tension there just because you know them better. But is that so? Are you saying like our friendship that was built in an office at work was from your necessity to be pleasant?
Actually, Shiv, no. You, I would say, you, Morgan, Savannah.
Shout out to them in case they wanted to be their names on the pod.
Have you had one of them on the pod yet?
No.
You have to get them on the pod.
Yeah.
You, Morgan, Savannah, Nicole, and then like a couple other people is kind of when all of that just like would drop. Because I can do it if I have small bursts of like real conversation in between. Because 8 hours of like being pleasant to everyone and just like being regular is a long time. But if you have small bursts of like being as authentic as you can to yourself, you can actually make it. Yeah. You can break it up and kind of recharge for like being pleasant again.
Right. Like all those times I would say a joke or like one that didn't hit and you're like, what are you saying? That was a moment of authenticity. You're questioning, but if it was to someone else, you'd just laugh.
I would just laugh because I'm being polite.
Right. But to me, it's like,
no matter what, if I learned this really early on in like middle school. Because up until middle school, I didn't fake laugh at all. It was in 6th grade, and I remember the kid. I'm not going to say his name because I know he listens to your podcast. I remember it was in math class, Miss Gottlieb's math class. And he made a joke, and I remember thinking, I should probably laugh so that I don't appear mean. Because it was really early on in the school year, and it was like 6th grade. 6th grade in like Atlanta is like the new, you're in middle school now. So it's a completely new school, completely new kids. The kid made a joke, and I was like, it's not particularly funny, but I should laugh to not appear like I'm being mean. Up until then, I never fake laughed at anything. And then once I learned that, it was like, oh no, like if you fake laugh at jokes, it makes you connect to people a little bit more.
Yeah. That makes sense. That's really that's like you have such a great memory to recognize the moment when you transition from that. Also, another point to that is before 6th grade, you were just a stone face, just like cold, just like all like the people that were trying to like entertain you or make you laugh when you're little, like they would do something like silly and you just would look at them just like with just a complete straight face.
Yeah. Straight face, would like ask like questions like, what are you doing? Like, why are you doing that? Like it was, I almost think it was a condition. I was very just like, very cold, very just like not expressive.
Sounds like a very like serious, like business oriented personality all the time from when you were little. Like someone would do something silly and you'd be like, you're 5 years old on the playground and they like go down the slide and they start laughing and you're like, really? Right now? Really? You're just gonna?
There's
Really?
a time and place for that.
Yeah.
I don't remember what I actually did, to be honest, but I know that I remember the moment when I started like laughing at jokes that people made to be like
Yeah.
friendly.
When you met me at work, that was the moment you started laughing at jokes.
That was the moment I actually stopped. I was like, I'm gonna push this guy because I see it in him. I'm gonna push this guy to be funny actually, because he has it in him. He's the funny guy. It's just he has a lot of throwaways at work, and I know that they're throwaways. Nah, you got to bring the real things to work too. You don't save all of those for after work. The real stuff comes, and that's when you started doing stand up, literally in our cubicles.
Yeah.
You started giving away real jokes because you saw this guy really wants the real material. I want the raw material. I want the stuff that hurts people's feelings. You're controversial comic shit.
Yes.
You can be troublesome.
Yeah, trouble. Yeah, 100%. I'm super edgy. And
wow, super blue. You're a very blue comic.
Yeah. Watch out for me. You know, you don't know what I'm gonna say.
I don't know how you get the sponsorships you have.
Yeah. They could the sponsorships if I get them, I could like if I had sponsorships, then they would cancel me because I like, you know, if I had them, like then because of what I'm saying, they would cancel, right? They'd just be like, this guy's too edgy.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll say things that are super edgy, like, you know, like I'll talk about dating and that's edgy.
Yeah.
And, you know, I touch upon topics like family. Like
what? Dude. If you talk about family one more time on this podcast, I might write a letter. Don't talk about family anymore.
Family.
Stop. I'm serious, Shiv. You'll be a hashtag very soon.
Yeah. I don't even know how we got there. But what do you have? Okay, we're gonna keep going with these decisions. So, remember the game where we started?
Yes.
All right, cool. So regular milk or chocolate milk?
Are they both milk from a cow?
Yeah, straight from the udder.
Neither. Almond milk.
Almond milk?
Yeah, almond milk. Only almond milk now.
But I gave you two choices.
So I reiterate. On the podcast about decision anxiety, you then limit the amount of decisions I can make.
Yeah.
Regular. Actually, no. Chocolate if it's homemade.
Okay. I respect that.
You do the regular milk and then like the Hershey syrup inside and stir it up with the spoon.
Yeah, I respect that. I'm similar. We're the same person. That's what that means, right? You have one similar characteristic, you're the same person.
Yeah, that's exactly what that means.
Okay, we're at the dinner table, me and you. And
oh, Shiv.
Yeah.
I was about to go behind you.
Yeah.
Hey, come on in. How are you?
I look crazy. I'm good. How are you?
Good to see you.
Are y'all recording?
Yeah, we're recording now.
So this is the podcast.
This is it.
Yeah.
Edit this out.
Don't edit it out, Shiv. Don't edit it out, Shiv.
I will sue you. It's a violation of HIPAA. Confidentiality.
Hey, the more you talk, the more I want to keep it on because it's so funny.
No, Shiv, no. I just got to pull over crazy. Put Kuma in there. You want to put somebody in there?
No, he's high.
Good luck with Evan. I don't know how great he is.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
She said something, but there was a frequency there.
Yeah. There was some sarcasm. That was beautiful. I appreciate that so much. That's so rare that we have that here, and it's just perfect. And that's and I'm sure you were expecting that. Wait, what are you petting right now? Kuma, right? That's for our listeners. That's Evan's dog. Evan is petting his dog currently as we speak, and he's bringing Kuma up. We can see. Oh my God, so cute!
This is the man.
Such a cute dog. He's the cutest. That's so cute.
Yep, this is him.
Hi, Kuma. Kuma, can you bark for our listeners?
Oh, he doesn't bark. He's probably barked like 9 times total since we've had him.
Got it.
He doesn't bark anymore.
What was the decision, like that decision, like to decide to get a dog?
So we went back and forth for years on like the type of dog we wanted. I was pretty stern on like a Shiba Inu. The whole, that's what he is a Shiba Inu. I wanted a husky at first, and I was like, he's too big for the apartment.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, what's the smallest version of a husky we can have? Shiba Inu pops up, that's perfect.
Right.
He wants like a murderous dog. She wants something violent.
Right.
So she wants
right.
She wanted like a rye or a pit or a really mean German Shepherd. Like she wanted something that, for obvious reasons, she wants something that's like protected and territorial.
Yeah.
She still wants. But I kind of knew I could win her over if I got something that's like cute, because that it's like rock, paper, scissors. It's like,
yeah,
she wants something territorial, but it's like, but if I get something cute, she's gonna want the something cute over something territorial.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So I showed her Kuma. We went to go get him in Pennsylvania, and he's been pretty stressful for most of his life.
Yeah.
We actually lost him like a month after we got him, like for 2-3 days.
No.
Dead serious. We took him out on a leash. The collar was a little too big. He jimmied out of it.
Yeah.
And just ran. So the first night we were looking for him for like 3 hours in pitch black, and he was actually really dark at the time. He's lightened up since then. He was really dark.
Yeah.
So he ran away. We couldn't find him. I actually went to work the next day.
You're like that we can deal with this after work.
Yeah, it was a summer Friday. So I went to work, came back, and the thing is, everybody knew I had a puppy, so they're all like asking, like, pictures, how's he doing? And I'm like dying on the inside because I don't know where he is. Like, I don't know where he is actually, but I kept up, the pleasant. Yeah. I kept that up at work. Didn't want to worry anyone about a lost puppy.
Mm.
And then that Friday, I got home probably like 1:32, and we looked for him until night, and couldn't find him. So we put his name on all the messages board, his pictures and stuff on all like the message boards or whatever. That Saturday, I went to the Stop and Shop and I bought this thing called liquid smoke. If you ever lose your dog, liquid smoke. So I bought this liquid smoke. I poured like just a bunch of it. I bought like 6 bottles and poured it all in like this 1 square foot area, and I put his crate there and a bowl of his food inside the crate. That Sunday, because we still looked for him all day Saturday, couldn't find him. That Sunday, I went to go look for him like 6 o'clock in the morning, and he was sitting behind the crate where all the liquid smoke was and the food was there. And I saw him, and he just ran. But he got stuck up near like a fence area. So I brought like a squeaking toy that he had that he had already established a relationship with. He already had a relationship with this squeaking toy.
Right.
So I went to the fence, squeaked the toy, and he immediately like perked up. And he started whining because he wanted to get to the toy. So there's like a hole in the fence. I put the squeaky toy near the hole, and he's like reaching for it with his little paw.
Yeah.
So I put the squeaky toy, he's reaching for it. I grab his paw, and I like jam my arm under the hole in the fence and like pull him through, like guarding it with my arms. My arm was bloody after it. I literally looked like I came from like a battle scene. And I like carried him home to the apartment.
Yeah.
And I like had him in my arms, and you feel like you rescued him, kind of a thing. So I took him home. He had a tick on his ear. It was a whole thing. So we took him home, took the tick off, gave him a bath, and that was the first time we lost Kuma. We lost him 3 times after
that. You know, it was like the most beautiful story, and then you just had to say at the end, that was the first time.
That was the first time we lost him.
We lost him 3 times after that.
3 more times.
Oh, man.
You've been down here in Georgia this summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man, that's such like a feel good, you know, a heartwarming story. It's nice that you found him like that, and that he like came, and especially like after that amount of days, the feeling like from when you saw him, and then so that was really cute. And then when you put your hands in the fence and you just talked about having bloody arms carrying the dog, then it was cute. And then I'm like, brave, no longer, not the cutest imagery, because I was cute. And then it was like, okay, that's, maybe a TMI.
Well, some movies aren't just, rom-coms. Some movies are rom-com with a hint of action.
Right.
Some movies aren't just comedies, they're dramedies. Most movies aren't just one genre. You kind of have to mix the genres up now to keep people's attention. Would you watch a movie that was only drama? There was no comedy, no romance, no action. It was just drama.
Yeah.
You would watch a movie that was only drama.
Yeah.
So now I have to ask you the question, Shiv, in front of your millions of viewers. What movies do you watch that are only drama because you love the genre so much? What movie is it get Shiv going that's only drama? Let's hear it. Top 5 movies that are only drama. Shoot. Let's go. On you.
I was messing with you. I just wanted to see you react. You led into it, and you're like, who would want to see that? Who would want to see that? And I'm like, I would. And you're like, really? So what you're saying to me is you made up the part of the story where your arms got bloody to add to make it like a mix.
I exaggerated, yeah. I might have had a scratch, but I did exaggerate to add that action element.
Yeah.
Like the fight scene. That was the fight scene at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and Kuma was actually lost for 3 hours.
No, he really was lost for 3 days.
I know. No, I'm messing with you.
He was lost for 3. And then saving Kuma was like the romantic part of it, but him just being lost is kind of the drama part of it. So It really is like it's really it's a multi-genre mix. The movie of losing.
Yeah. I'd say the climax was when you put the smoke liquid, whatever it was, in the.
Hear that?
I think that was the turning point, because then there was like more hope in the story.
Yeah.
And then when you woke up at 6 a.m. and found him, I'd say that was, then that was the resolution. That's what in my opinion, the part where you got him, that's the resolution of the story.
All right.
Like that's when it was solved.
Yes.
And then the falling action is well, so there, hold on. It's a complicated story because there was 2 points. So you found him, but then he was stuck in the fence.
Yeah.
So you put, Evan, you can't do this to me, man. Like you put me through this emotional roller coaster, and it was just up and down, and I couldn't, I almost couldn't handle it. And
listen, it's a good movie. It's a
right.
good movie. This what happens when the genres mix.
Right.
And that's what happens. The romantic climax may be different than the action sequence climax, may be different than the drama sequence climax.
Right.
Do you see where I'm going? Each individual genre had their own climax within the same movie.
Right.
That's why you were so conflicted.
Got it. Now I understand. That is very, they just took me through a roller coaster. I'm glad you found him. That is, and that's a very, very feel good story. I would totally ask about the other 3 times, but that might take a while again. So, maybe we can talk about that off episode, but that is an amazing story. So just to end this, because we're running out of time, what would you consider the best decision in your life?
I was fed a line in which the best decision of my life is marrying Brooklyn. That's what I was just told just now.
That's what you said on your own will.
By my producer.
By yourself.
Yeah. I was told that the best decision of my life is marrying Brooklyn. Actually, I'll say this. Getting married is probably
be careful. Be careful.
Being married is probably the biggest decision of your life. I'll say that. It is the biggest. Whether it's the best or the worst, it's still the biggest decision you can probably make in your life. Because now, like, for me, I was an only child, so like being like attached to a person was not like my thing. Like I was a true only child in the sense of just being like going places by myself, moving by myself, and like making a decision to just like do things on my own is like kind of what I default to. But like to now be like tethered to someone, first was like kind of weird.
Yeah.
Like to go somewhere and then like have them ask about the other person was like weird. Or at least it was weird.
Yeah, because you're not used to it at first, especially if being like, especially if you're an only child too, because then it's like you go somewhere it's like on your own usually, and then it becomes like together.
Yeah.
So that makes sense that the best decision was marriage. What would you consider your second best decision? Befriending me? Would you say it's befriending?
Befriending that would probably be top 40. But no, I want to answer your question, Shiv, but you can't make me laugh. I would say that the second best decision probably would have been starting the business, just because of the parts of me that I kind of learned about myself and kind of unlocked about myself, just going through that kind of process. That would probably be the second best decision.
Yeah.
Because even at the time, like the initial box was $500. I might have had $600 to like my name with rent due. So that was a pretty big decision. Just like at the time, it was such you don't really, and then I quit the job too, so it wasn't like I had like knowledge of when my next check was coming. So it really was just a really big risk to take.
Yeah. You learned like the most about yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's like such a good, decision, like you said, not only just for like business wise, but for personal growth. It seems like it's just like you said, you learned a lot about yourself, and there are so many challenges that, like almost like the spiritual or more of the journey you went on as an individual, or just having to figure stuff out, was valuable. And like, so that kind of makes it, sometimes I wonder, like, if you go towards something more entrepreneurial or something, and it's a risk and you don't make money from it, or if, it doesn't pan out the way you want it to, at the very least, you like learn a lot about yourself,
That's something I always tell people when they want to like kind of do their own thing, is like, even if you're not going to make money from it, you're going to learn something. You're going to learn this isn't the thing for you, as far as like a product, as far as like a service, as far as like maybe even just being an entrepreneur, period. Like, you're going to learn something about yourself. Right. The worst case scenario is that you lose a little bit of money that you would have spent doing something else, but it's a lesson that you kind of can't really put any value to.
Right. Third best decision.
You're just gonna keep. Going down the
I know I'm top 40. I'm just trying to get. I'm going until 40. I'm just waiting for my name to be mentioned.
So, question: was the point of the question to find out where befriending Shiv was on the top 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 decisions of my life? Was that the point of the question?
Yeah, I thought it would be. I thought it'd be top 2, and I thought it'd be a debate between. I thought it'd be number 2. In all honesty, I was hoping it was number 1, but I understand why it would be number 2.
Thank you for understanding.
Yeah, and then when you said 40, I was just like, I was just like, you're not right now, like in this moment, you're just not. You don't have all your sense, like you're just not thinking. Because I know I'm number 2. It's just like what you're just think today. You're just like you're having different thoughts. So.
Well, no, I'm actually just trying to kind of tie the whole podcast together. You said we were wrapping up, so I wanted to kind of allude to the beginning of the podcast to bring it full circle. We talked about that in pre-production, Shiv. I didn't want to bring that up in front of your audience.
Yeah. So we make decisions based off of what's best for the podcast.
What's best? Yes, that's how I rank my decisions.
I appreciate you keeping that in mind, because that's that helps it for listeners and stuff.
Yeah.
But this was so much fun. I think there was definitely a lot of hearing about your experience starting your business, and then just bantering about random stuff, and hearing about marriage decisions and stuff too is really cool and insightful. And I hope all of our listeners, you can relate a little bit, or you laughed a little bit. You chuckled, you giggled a little, and I just, I hope you did. And we'll be back with another episode. Thank you, Evan, so much for being on. Before we go, I want to know if you want to do any plugs.
Any what?
Any plugs?
Any plugs?
What do you think I said? Bugs?
I thought you said any plots. Like talk about another movie. I don't know what that was. The plugs, sure. Of course, Out of the Box Kicks on Instagram. My wife has something on Instagram, For Us the Brand. It's really about kind of it started kind of being more about educational about Juneteenth, but it's kind of grown into I would almost call it like a self-care kind of line. For Us the Brand on Instagram. I think that's it. I don't do that
much. Yeah, that's awesome. Definitely support that. Follow, out the box kicks, and is it at For Us, or what is the? How do you spell it?
For Us, FORUS, then underscore the brand.
Got it. one more time. No, I'm kidding. I'm messing with but no, that's awesome. Definitely, you know, everyone listening, you know, follow that, support that. And yeah, we'll be back with another episode soon. Stay tuned. You know, I'll be back. It's your boy Shiv, your guy, your dude. You know, it's, you know, thank you for spending your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or Saturday evening or morning or afternoon with me. And I think that covers all the times. And all right, yeah,
you didn't cover
Sunday, morning, afternoon, and evening. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Evan, again for being on. And talk to you guys soon. All right, peace out.